Then there is the family. and we show them what we need to show them. And I hate saying it like that, but we show them what we need to show them. And usually that's because again, and this one, it has so many nuances going on and so many different ways you can take it, because they should already know us, right? Right? What if I told you that we all wear masks? Indeed, we do. But what if I told you that it's okay and that they're necessary because they actually act as a form of boundary? Indeed. Hey, hi there, guys. Warren here. Today, I want to talk about that. The fact that we all wear masks. And 3 to be specific. Let's go with 4. But 3 key ones, and that is work, friends, and family. And I said maybe 4 neighbors, strangers. And some of our neighbors can be friends, but we do. And some of us would like to think that we don't, or we say we don't, and we do, and it's okay, because we don't necessarily want our coworkers, our colleagues, to see all of us. And it's not that you're being, or we're being nefarious with our character and hiding something. It is more privacy. And also, work is where we're supposed to be our most, and when I say serious, I don't mean that we can't have moments of, for lack of better words, letting our hair down. But it's the place where professionalism is expected and serious work is expected. And that depends, it all depends on whatever, or I should say it shouldn't depend on what you do, really. If it's your business, at some point it becomes serious. And so let's say you are the crack-up kind that's always around your friends. You are just the kind that does let your hair down, or do let your hair down. You don't want to portray that at work, because it sends, or it could inadvertently send the wrong message, because some people, even though that moment might have been a moment of lightheartedness, might misread that. And I don't want to necessarily give an example. I'm sure you could think of a very uncomfortable one you've probably experienced or seen. But we don't show our coworkers, all of us, and we shouldn't, because again, just to my point that I just alluded to, you have to create that boundary that says that was a moment either created by the boss or it just happened, and now it's back to work, and not to proceed necessarily past that point. And then there's the mask we wear for our friends, that we often don't show even our families, because even though we love our family, sometimes our friends are just more receptive to who we really are as individuals than our families, who like, sadly, to put us in boxes with labels that they think we should be. Doesn't mean our friends don't do that, or some friends don't try to do that. But it's problematic when it comes to families. You know, they just like to label us and box us. And so we don't necessarily show them, all of us, either, and we show a lighter side, a more vulnerable side of us to our friends. And We might bleed some of our work mask over into our friends if it needs to be. Should we have to like check our friend about something, we might, get out of the crack up mode and the lightheartedness and get serious with them. And then there is the family. and we show them what we need to show them. And I hate saying it like that, but we show them what we need to show them. And usually that's because again, and this one, it has so many nuances going on and so many different ways you can take it, because they should already know us, right? Right? So there isn't much more to show them except for those things that we're very vulnerable about, that we know could be exploited, and sadly again, often by family members. Doesn't mean our friends and some coworkers won't, which is why you have to create those boundaries, because if you set yourself up for the possibility of being exploited, nefarious people will take that opportunity and they will do it. But families already know us, so I don't think there's much to show them. But we often think that wearing or, and it's clearly metaphorically, but we think that wearing masks is a bad thing. Now, when it becomes nefarious is when you're wearing a mask to hide exactly who you are. If you are a nefarious person and you're up to no good and you're just using that as cover, there's clearly that, right? Shades of gray between black and white. But I'm talking about those masks that we have to wear, that I think we should wear. And again, sometimes we think wearing them means we're being less open and less forthcoming with who we are. And I tend to disagree with that, because there's only one of us to go around, and if someone takes advantage of that one of us and exploits us and we get hurt, and then we put ourselves on the shelf because we just don't want to put ourselves back out there to get hurt again, then masks work, because I said it in the beginning that they're a form of boundary, and they are. But when we use the words, it just comes across as if you're creating gates with locks. And there's a difference between exclusion and boundaries. And that bleeds over into so many things. I just thought of one that I'm so not touching. Leans into politics, boundaries, exclusion. But yes, there is such a misconception of what that really means and what those two things are. But again, not touching it. But you see how easily they can be misrepresented, misused, exploited to suit agendas. But in our day-to-day, I think, in my humble opinion, they are just another part of creating those necessary boundaries that we need in our lives, just to be safer, healthier, and dare I say more sane, especially when it comes to our beloved family members. But that's all I wanted to share, was just to remind us gently and humbly that wearing masks is not horrible. It is just an extension of creating very healthy and useful boundaries, all right? And until our next conversation, you be good out there. Take care of each other, take care of yourselves, and we'll talk again soon. I'll see you.